This. This is an appendage, but for the entirety of the human race, it's been a tool. It's one of the most important parts of the body because it's so integral to human communication. Stay with me on this. Think about it. A thumb was used to create the first controlled fire, bring us visual history and chalk drawings, write some of the greatest books and fine arts we have ever seen. It has helped sign declarations of war, and entire industries have been built around this small, oddly shaped finger. Trust me, this all has a point. I just wanted you to realize how important the thumb is, because it's one of the tools that helps us interface with one of the most important technologies we have today.
It's so, yeah, we trending. Watch what you say, don't offend them. They keep in the real, they commend them. People like get your white.
The modern day smartphone is designed for the hand. Just the way you hold it, your thumb sits perfectly on the screen, allowing you to navigate websites, answer calls, play games, whatever you need to do. Your thumb is probably used more than any other finger on your hand. And the one person to point that out, of course, was Steve Jobs. In fact, one of the key talking points in the first iPhone reveal was that the thumb could reach edge to edge.
The design center for a phone. It's this. It's your hand. A phone should feel great in your hand, and more importantly, should be easy to use with this magical device we all carry called a horizontally opposed thumb. It does most of the hard work for us. So when you carry your phone, it should fit beautifully in your hand. It should be easy to send messages, type emails, surf the web, and that's just how we designed.
You didn't need to stretch, you didn't need to use your other hand. The complexity of that first iPhone, all the things it could do that really no other phone at the time could do, you can navigate it entirely by only your thumb. Which, wow, that was a pretty incredible accomplishment, right? I mean, we don't think about it, but yeah. Steve knew the thumb was the new interface tool for mobile devices, and one-handed navigation was the future, which is where this comes in. This whole idea of thumb navigation is slowly dying because of these. Larger screens and more complicated swipe navigation is dominating the design language of mobile devices. The phone is no longer built for one-handed navigation, or at the very least requires you to adjust your hand. Which, for an all-glass phone, you kinda wanna make sure you have some steady hands or invest in a great case. Now, this design language for the phone stayed the same up until the iPhone 5. That's when it all changed.
It's so, yeah, we trending. Watch what you say, don't offend them. They keep in the real, they commend them. People like get your wife pregnant, but I ain't trying to be dependent. I need money never ending. I'm talking 100%. I need the owner, you rent it.
When the iPhone 5 was released, it had a new form factor, a larger design, and while you could still navigate with your thumb top to bottom, it was harder. You had to stretch, and constant stretching can tire out your wrist, your hands, and even give you cramps. I'm not going to say old people problems, but I was alive when the Transformers G1 cartoon was out, and not in reruns, if you catch my drift. Drift, get it? You don't get it. I honestly had no idea why the larger screen was necessary either. The iPhone 4 and 4S still look like beautiful slabs of industrial design, even if the 4 did have its own issues. If I had to guess, I think it was more of the marketing for those other companies and the blogs picking it up, because any negative news about Apple was, and still is sadly, clickbait goodness. Just look at what I did over here. There was nothing wrong with a smaller screen, but much like with cars, bigger is better. So this whole idea from Steve Jobs about how the phone was designed so you can navigate one-handed, the whole thumb interface, all that, erased, because the phone needed to be larger. Not so fast. Apple being Apple had a solution. It was called reachability, and it's still in the iPhone today.
Touch, not even press, just double touch the Touch ID button. This is what happens. The whole display slides down so you can reach anything at the top without having to take your hand off the bottom of the display. It's so convenient and intuitive. It'd be really like to use it.
Essentially, by double tapping the home button, you could pull down the screen just enough so you can still navigate with your thumb. It was actually a brilliant solution to a pretty unnecessary problem. So what am I getting at here? Well, for one, I still think reachability is one of the iPhone's unsung heroes, but also, and this is going to go into a rant, a lot of companies design for the sake of staying modern, or at the very least, the illusion of still being modern. But by doing so, you tend to introduce new problems. Now, Apple could have just done nothing. They could have just said, here's a new iPhone, it has a larger screens are modern, but they didn't. They updated the phone, saw the issue that this bigger screen might have, and created a solution for that. And yeah, reachability is one of those small design solutions that you don't really think about, but when you need it, it's the best thing in the world. And that, my friends, is what great design is all about. Finding solutions to annoying problems. Now, one could say we've adapted to these larger screens, but Steve was right. You might be holding a drink or a child, and if you find yourself on an app or website that requires a second hand because you can't reach that one button, is it worthwhile for you to free up that other hand? And I know, that sounds f***ing crazy, but we've all been there. We've all interacted with something that's just a little out of reach, and it's so annoying that it's just not worth it. For example, have you ever loaded up Instagram and it starts loading images slowly or crawls to a stop? You close out of it and move on to something else. Maybe you'll go back, but there's 10 other apps on your screen all fighting for your attention. Annoying UI is just as bad as poorly designed UI, and it takes customers away from you. Our attention spans are so limited these days, if we encounter one tiny itty bitty inconvenience, we're done with that shit. That's why apps and mobile web navigation is such a hot topic these days. When phones were designed so the thumbs could reach every part of it, nav design was easy. You knew that the entire screen could be reachable. Now, there are studies on how people hold phones, which finger is the dominant, which is still the thumb, thank you very much. Team thumb over here. What can I say? And new design language and interface for mobile navigation have been invented to make sure those minor inconveniences don't reach you. All because the screen needed to be larger. Anyway, what's your take on this whole idea of designing solutions for annoying design? Basically. Honestly, that's what it is. The solution for bad design is to not do it in the first place. But if you have to, design a good solution for that bad design. But reachability, do you use it? Did you even know that existed? Let me know in the comments below, and if you found any of this interesting, give me a thumbs up, because I'm probably going to do more of these old man designer rants, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later.